Welcome to the Private Practice with Soul podcast. My name is Dr. Brooklyn Storme, and I help private practice owners align their business back with their soul's calling, with their big vision and with their soul's purpose. Unlike other private practice coaches, I've traveled the world in search of spiritual resources, spiritual tools, education and information so that you can have the transformation that your soul desires and needs so that you can up-level your business. How much fun is this? I love it so much. Guys, if you're not already a member of the Private Practice Monthly Mentorship Group, please check out the show notes. I would love for you to be there. In the meantime, thank you so much for pushing play today. Let's begin. Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Private Practice with Soul podcast. Thank you so much for being here today. Okay, so what I wanted to share with you is really around the things that are happening at the moment with COVID, but I want to give it to you in a little bit of a different way because you know me, I love to color outside the lines, and that's what we're going to do today. I want to take you down a little bit more of a journey around spirituality, alignment, those sorts of things in terms of COVID, not the same stuff that you're seeing on Facebook and your social media every day. Okay, so I think the first thing to really be aware of is that at the moment, especially if you're living in Victoria in Australia, what's happened is we're in these stage 4 lockdowns. So we have to be home indoors in the house before 8 p.m. and we can only leave the house for up to a maximum of 1 hour a day. The police have been given new powers. They can enter your house now without a warrant or without your permission. They can, access your car if they feel that there's a need to, get inside your car and remove you from it, all those sorts of things. And so I just felt that for us as private practice owners and as women, what's happening is I think we've been conditioned and programmed to be giving all of our love and compassion and kindness to our clients. And some of us even are still putting ourselves at risk and turning up to the practice to deliver face-to-face sessions. I mean, how much more compassion can you have as a practice owner? But at the same time, it's also bringing up for some private practice owners some anxieties, especially about their business, about the knock-on effects for their families and things like that. And so anyway, what's happened is we kind of have this really unexpected crisis, don't we? And it's caused such a big upheaval. Plans that many of you had put in place, your quarterly plans, your annual plans, your 6-month plans, they've been ruined. They've needed to be broken down. And I think that's the theme for what we're going through at the moment. It's that theme of the breaking down of everything that we know and the way that we know it, the breaking down of structures, the breaking down of schema, the breaking down of narrative. It's this big breaking down. But I think when there's that breaking down and dismantling of those paradigms, it then allows other paradigms to be revealed. It allows other plans to be revealed. It allows other courses of action to be revealed. And I think that's what's happening now. Some of the illusions or some of perhaps the delusions that we've been operating our practices under have now been removed. They've now been kind of blown away, if you like. And this all came quite suddenly. It's like this big bolt of lightning out of the sky, and it felt like a lot of chaos. We weren't prepared for it. We thought that we were really, really safe in our tower and, or safe in our tower being a metaphor, I guess, for your business. We all felt quite safe in that and shored up, like we had really good foundations. We all just found out, no, we didn't. That's what it's been like for many of us, But I think too, what it's caused us to reflect on as women and as practice owners is that, now what we really need to do is figure out a way of progressing. And that's going to require us to, future plan. And that future planning is going to look different for all of you. I mean, for me, future planning now looks like, how do I continue to well, as you know, I exit psychology on the 31st of August. So for me, my future planning is all around, how do I keep that online business going? How do I find that steady flow of women that I really want to work with who are struggling with some kind of change in their life? So I'm going to continue doing counseling, but I'm also going to be doing energy healing and energy work and spiritual counseling and things like that. So I now am super excited about developing that side of the practice, but it's also going to require future planning for the coaching business that I have. So I've got these two businesses. And what I want to do is plan for, how do I keep these going online? Sorry, I'm just choking here. How do I keep these going online, and what's that going to look like? What's that going to involve? How can I do this in a place that feels really aligned with my vision, my values, and my purpose? How can I get more into my feminine flow? How can I handle my masculine energy? What would harmonizing those look like for me? What wounded feminine energy do I need to address? What wounded masculine energy do I need to address? And how do I harmonize those? So for me, future planning looks a little bit different to other coaches, because they're really about, well, you've got to have your 90 days and you've got to have your structure here and your policy there and your system there, and that's what your future planning is all about, you know. For me, my roadmap isn't about strategy first. It's about getting all of that inner energetic higher consciousness expansion stuff sorted out first, and then the strategy kind of follows. But anyway, I've told you that before. That's just kind of where I'm at. But your future planning might look a little bit different. But here's the thing. What's going to happen is you're going to find success through having strength and vision. It's going to be through anchoring into your vision, using that vision to support the future planning of the business. So this is a time for you to really reflect over if you're already in private practice, this is, have a moment where you can reflect on, how has the practice been going over the last little while, and compare it, do a contrast and comparison to what your vision is with where the practice has been. Are they marrying up nicely together, or has there been a deviation between the vision and what's been showing up? Because this is an opportunity for you now to bring those two together again. And that's what we mean by alignment. Okay. The other thing too is, this is also a time for you to cultivate courage. Okay. Courage meaning you're afraid of something, but you're going to step into that fear anyway. So it's around developing courage so that you can use that courage to overcome your obstacles. Okay. That's the second stage. There are 5 stages. This is just my perspective on things. And as I said, it's what came through my meditation. Okay. I think stage 3 is really around understanding for you what is standing in the way of you being able to get everything into alignment at the moment. Okay. It's understanding, are there any blocks? Are there any forks in the road? What are the fears? What are the obstacles? What's causing you to stagnate at the moment? And so for some private practice owners, that's going to be fear that's coming up around financial stability, right? So maybe you have a vision of being a coach, but you're not trained in coaching yet. And you know, well, it wouldn't be very ethical for me to move into coaching if I haven't been trained, and ethics is really important to me. Therefore, I need to go and get a qualification in coaching, but I don't want to spend the money right now, because with COVID going on, what if the money doesn't come back to me, right? There's this fear around, oh, I don't want to invest in taking the action I need to take to get to where I want to be in the practice, because of these concerns I have around the money. So there's this sense of holding on, right? You're like holding on to what you've got, for scarcity mindset stopping you from relaxing your grip a little bit. And here's the thing, when you hold on to something so tightly, you squeeze the life out of it. You essentially create a kink in the hose, and instead of, water being able to move freely through it, what's happening is everything's just going to stagnate, and you're not going to get to that next level of the business. It's almost as if, in a way, there's some sense of being possessive, right? This is another theme that comes up when we're thinking about what's blocking us from moving forward at the moment. This sense of being possessive. I'm going to stick with Medicare. I'm going to stick with Medicare. It's going to work out. I hope they extend the number of rebatable sessions we can get for telehealth until the end of the year. I'm going to ride this out. I'm not willing to look at anything else. It's holding on to that. And for some of you, it's that level of possessiveness. It's also around clients. Oh, well, my clients are saying that they don't want to do online, and I don't want to lose my clients. Therefore, I'll put myself at risk and I'll go and see them face to face because I don't want to lose them. You're holding on to those clients out of fear. You're being possessive with those clients out of your own fear, and you're potentially putting yourself and your life and that of your family and others at risk because of fear mindset, scarcity mindset. The other thing that can come up for some people is this idea of perhaps neither making or losing money. This is back to that concept of stagnation. You're just kind of like stable, right? So you're in COVID, you know that all the old paradigms are shifting at the moment. You know that you need to make some changes, but at the same time, the practice is in a position where the finances have stayed the same. You haven't lost too much money. You haven't made too much more money. Maybe you lost some money, but you've been topped up by the JobKeeper payment. Or maybe you've lost some money, but you're being topped up by the $5,000 small business injection or whatever it was called, right? But there's some kind of stagnation there with the money, okay? The other thing is withholding. So this concept of withholding can come up, and when we're withholding things, it means that you're not going to be able to move into that new paradigm for the business. Withholding can look like maybe you've got this really beautiful idea that you want to share with the world. Maybe it's a program that you want to write. Maybe it's a book that you want to write. Maybe it's new therapy that you want to try. Things like that, but you're withholding things because you're nervous. Maybe you're withholding money. Maybe it's not about ideas and concepts and services. Maybe it's around money. Maybe there are people that need to be paid by your practice. Maybe there's bills that need to be paid by your practice, but you're anxious about the finances, and so you're withholding money. You're hanging on to it until the last minute before it goes out. These are actions that block you from moving ahead in the practice during something like COVID, because what you're essentially doing is sending out the vibration to the universe that you're scared, and so what's going to happen is that vibration is going to come back to you in the form of things to be scared about or scared of, right? You're saying, I don't trust that the universe is going to send me new clients if I let these ones go. I don't trust that my diary is going to get full if I, stop seeing clients face to face. And so that's what's coming back to you. And so it's keeping you in this stronghold of inertia. And that is what can be an absolute block, obstacle. It can show up as procrastination, it can show up as perfectionism, it can show up as all those sorts of things. But they're what you need to address in order to be able to get the outcome that you want. But here's the good news. The other thing that came through in the meditation for me was that we all have strengths that we can draw upon, okay? For you as women, as private practice owners, you're naturally born leaders, right? Something happened to you somewhere in your life where you just decided, I'm going to step up and lead. I am going to create a practice. Now, even those of you who don't feel so confident, or perhaps you don't feel so worthy, or perhaps you feel unsure of yourself, all those sorts of things, the reality is you stepped up. And the reality is you are a leader. It doesn't matter if you're a sole trader or you're in solo private practice, or if you've got a small team or a big team, you are leading. You're a born leader. That's a strength, because not everybody can do what you're doing and run a business and run a practice. We also know that one of your strengths is that you're an entrepreneur, right? You didn't go and buy a pre-existing business, like you didn't buy a fish and chip shop, you didn't buy a bakery, you didn't buy a florist, you didn't buy a computer shop, you didn't buy a bookstore. You didn't buy into a franchise, right? An entrepreneur is somebody who creates something from nothing, and that's what you've done. You manifested your private practice. Manifesting is taking the formless and transforming it into something that has a form. That's what you did. You had a thought of running a private practice, and you made it happen. That's what an entrepreneur is, okay? We also know that one of your strengths is being visionary. You're somebody who had, when she started her business, she had an idea of why she wanted to do it. There was someone, some group, some demographic that you wanted to help in a way that you knew only you could, right? You had a vision. You were going through university perhaps, and you were thinking to yourself, oh, when I get out of here, I'm going to have a practice and it's going to look like this, and it's going to be located here, and I'm going to help these types of clients, and I'm going to help them with these types of issues, and this is what I'm really passionate about. Or you went and you worked for other companies and other businesses, and then one day you just got to a point where you thought, there's more to this, and I know what it looks like, and I know what it is, and I can show up, and I'm going to do it. And you had that vision. A fourth strength that you have as a private practice owner is that you're a woman of influence. You have influence. You influence people every single day with the work that you do. In a therapeutic context, you're a woman of influence. When you write your blog, you're a woman of influence. When you do your podcast, your Instagram, your Facebook feeds, you're a woman of influence. When you talk to referrers, whether it's NDIS support coordinators, whether it's other coaches and other psychologists and social workers and counsellors that are sending work your way, you are influencing them. You are influencing the process. You are influencing the industry with your ideas. You are influencing somebody's wellness journey. You are already an influencer, right? You perhaps don't see it. Perhaps you're not consciously stepping into the influencer role, but you're doing it nonetheless. Another strength that you have as a private practice woman is that you're independent. You took this on as your project. You took this on as your business. You took this on as an extension of who you are, of your beliefs, of your vision, of your values, of all those beautiful things. And you did it by yourself, right? Even if you're in partnership, even if perhaps you have a husband or a girlfriend, or you're in a relationship and they're sort of supporting you from the sidelines, it doesn't matter. You made the decision on your own and you showed up. Other people can only give you their opinions, but you make your own decisions, and you did that independently. We also know that you're very creative. To run a private practice, you have to be creative, don't you? You've got to be creative with how you work with your clients, how you market the practice, how you build relationships. You've got to be creative in terms of coming up with new ideas, new online programs, group programs, workshops, events, books, all those sorts of things that you're doing. So we know that you're creative. We also know one of the strengths that you have is that you're ambitious. Okay, and I think that links back in with the vision, doesn't it? You're very ambitious. You have drive, and that drive comes from within and it comes from without. That's what ambition is. There's that motivation that's intrinsic and extrinsic. You're doing it because it fills you up, it brings you joy, it fills your cup, you love doing it. But there's also the external drives too, because you want to help people. You love seeing them change. You love the growth. You love seeing them, witness them have their light bulb moment and their breakthrough. And that's one of your strengths. I just realized I've got a lot of strengths that came through for you guys. Another strength that you have is, being able to step into that boss role, being able to step into that mentor role and that advisor role. And I don't need to belabor those points because you're already doing it, right? You're already doing that. And they're the strengths that you're going to be drawing upon to overcome some of those, obstacles, hiccups, blocks that we've previously discussed about a few minutes ago. And then the outcome as a result of doing all of this work for you is that there's going to be a sense of detachment from the old. Detachment from the old. So for me, detachment from the old meant breaking free of funding models, of approaches that were going to restrict my practice. Okay? For me, that means stepping out of psychology. For me, that means not doing Medicare. For me, that means no longer doing work cover. For me, that means no longer doing TAC, things like that. So there's this sense of detachment, which is what we want, right? That detachment might not look anything like my journey. I'm just sharing mine to give you an example. There's a sense of breaking free, okay? A sense of, oh, yes, the shackles are off. Oh, yes, I can breathe again. Oh, yes, this elephant isn't on my chest. The monkey isn't on my back. I don't have that backpack on my back that's full of rocks that's weighing me down. I don't have that heaviness. I don't have that resistance. There's a sense of breaking free of something that has been up until COVID, perhaps restricting you, blocking you, holding you back. Okay, so the outcomes, detachment and breaking free. And the overall outcome on a much deeper level is a sense of your power reclaimed. Whatever that power looks like for you. I'm not talking about you're going to be Donald Trump and rule the world. I mean, that power around, for me, for example, my power reclaimed means I can get back to helping women, helping private practice owners in a way that I want to. I can get back to helping clients that I want to work with in the way that's aligned with me. I want to talk with my clients about spiritual stuff. I want to do spiritual coaching with them. I want to color outside the lines, as I said before. I want to talk with my clients about crystals, about energy healing. I want to talk with them about stuff like Reiki. I want to talk with them about shamanic healing. I want to talk with them about the universe. I want to talk with them about expanding their own conscious awareness. I want to have those conversations that aren't where I'm trying to stuff something that's, so big and so beautiful into some kind of box that says it's got to be evidence-based or else it's no good. I'm rejecting that for me. And so for me, reclaiming my power means getting back to anchoring into the way I really want to work. And that's what it's going to look like for me. But for you, reclaiming your power might look like letting go of a big lease, or it might look like letting go of your team and just working yourself as a solo practitioner again. It might mean letting go of your virtual admin who's not working out and getting new virtual admin. Perhaps that's your power reclaimed, right? Perhaps your power reclaimed is building a team so that then you can work on the business. It doesn't matter what it looks like, but this is where it's going. So, to recap in a nutshell, the whole COVID thing for us as women in private practice, what came through for me with my meditation, and I don't know if it's going to land for you or not, but I wanted to share it, was that 5 steps. First of all, an unexpected crisis, upheaval, ruined plans, chaos, releasing of anger, breaking down, delusions being shattered and blown away. The next step was where you need to get to is achieving the first stage of change in your private practice, creating a sense of progress, future planning, drawing upon your strengths to create success with your vision, and finding courage within yourself to overcome your obstacles. The obstacles that may be getting in the way for some of you can include things like holding on to clients that aren't the right fit for your practice now, holding on to funding models that aren't the right fit for your practice now, holding on to the idea that your practice is going to nosedive if you don't turn up to face-to-face appointments. Being possessive of referrals of clients, of money, withholding money instead of paying bills, finding yourself in a state of stagnation, wanting that financial control and stability, yet knowing you need to make an investment, whether it's to a course, whether it's to coaching, whether it's to Facebook ads, whether it's to whatever, you know it in your head, but fear mindset stops you from making that investment. The next thing is the strengths that you have are abundant and can be drawn upon to help you overcome those obstacles, right? So there's a strength in you that you're a born leader, you're an entrepreneur, you're a visionary, you're influential, independent, creative, ambitious. You want it all, and why shouldn't you? You have strengths within you of being a boss, a practice director, a mentor to others, an advisor, and a partner. And then last of all, the outcome that's awaiting you when you follow this process is finally a sense of freedom, a sense of letting go, a sense of detachment, breaking free, and ultimately reclaiming your power. Now, how good is that? I tell you what, I feel like I'm kind of loving meditation at the moment. I was never really a meditation person, but hey, there you go. Let me know what you think about, this podcast. It was just, as I said, normally when I'm writing a podcast for you, I go back through, as some of you send me emails, and I love it when you do that because some of you ask me 2 or 3 questions and then I build my podcast around those 2 or 3 questions. But this time I just thought I wanted to try something different because in my group I've been talking more and more about stepping into masculine energy and feminine energy. And I thought I want to get my masculine energy and meditate. So it's a whole other podcast. But anyway, so I wanted to do that, and I just wanted to be open and see what came through to the question, what does my audience need to hear right now? And yeah, this process came through, this sort of process, journey, 5 steps. Don't know really what you'd call it, but yeah, I'd love to know what you thought. Thank you so much for listening. Sorry I'm a day late. I will see you on Saturday. Thanks, guys. Have a beautiful day. Talk to you later. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Private Practice with Soul podcast today. If you're looking for clarity, if you need help with branding, your processes, and bringing everything into alignment with your soul's purpose for your private practice, head to the show notes and click the link for more information about the Private Practice Monthly Mentorship Group. You are going to love it. I can't wait to see you in there. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.